Hey, what happened? It's burned your morning, they burned, flip, 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 flip.
Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to the channel if this is your first time. If you are coming back, thank you so much for the support. It really, really matters. I really appreciate it. If this is your first time here, please feel welcome to have a delve. There are lots of material on here. It's 5 years worth, over 1,000 videos. I'd love to get to know you. Okay, so this is a new tag. I've created another tag, and this is prompted by my adoration of Jim Henson and the Muppets, and I've got a feeling that there's a lot of people that would like referencing the Muppets and Jim Henson. I did a Jim Henson book tag years ago, and lots of people did it, which was great. So I'll actually put that in the description below, so that if you want to see the Jim Henson one, that'd be great. And that was like 10 prompts based on 10 different Jim Henson products, like Sesame Street and Fraggle Rock and Muppet Show, and all sorts of different things. This is just about the Muppets. So what I've done is I've taken 10 different characters, 10 different Muppets, and I've based a book prompt from that character's personality. So I think it's a bit of fun. It's a way of celebrating Muppets, a way of celebrating books. You can talk about different books from these prompts. I've got quite a variety of books, actually. I'll go to town on the second one. But hopefully you'll enjoy this, and please get involved. I'm going to tag loads of people below, because as it's an original tag, it'd be nice if it starts spreading about. So there we are, the Muppet Book Tag. My first Muppet I'm going to reference is the great Kermit the Frog. Kermit the Frog is just an incredible character. He's obviously the mainstay of when the Muppets were first created for Sesame Street, and he was a regular character in Sesame Street, and then obviously he became the important one in the Muppet Show as well, and ever since. And he's like the symbol of the Muppets. And a lot of people said that Jim Henson made him and his character and his dialogue as a representation of him. So he's like Jim. So yeah, Kermit the Frog. And from his character, the prompt for that is name a book with a great leader. Okay, name a book with a great leader. What I've done for this one, I know it's a bit obvious. I don't think the rest of them are as obvious, but this is Gandalf. I love the books. I actually think I ought to reread them, because I've read them twice many years ago, so decades ago. So I would like to read them again. But I absolutely love them. I love the characters. Gandalf is such a great character, and Gandalf is really important for so many reasons. But he is a great leader, because when he's around, everything centers around him as far as decision making and people's direction, and everyone trusts him. He's got a fantastic reputation, and when he sort of reappears during the what's it called, Helm's Deep, during Helm's Deep, it's really, really important. And that, and that's like, and they all think, oh my God, we're all right now because Gandalf's arrived. So there's that great moment there. So yeah, Lord of the Rings, Gandalf. That's my vote for a book with a great leader. Okay, the second prompt is based around Fozzie Bear. So I thought it'd be nice to do Fozzie next, as he is often connected to Kermit. Miss Piggy is as well, obviously, but I haven't actually got a Miss Piggy prompt. But Fozzie Bear, another great character, particularly used really well, I think, in the original Muppet movie, the one from the late 70s. I think his character in that film is so brilliant. So for this one, because he's essentially a comedian, a very bad comedian, but he's a comedian. For this one, the prompt is a book that makes you laugh. A book that makes you laugh. So I am going a bit to town on this one. So the actual single book I've chosen is this book. Well, actually, no, it's two. Besides, there's a lot of books here for this. So there's the Mad collection that I bought in New York, which I really like. So this is like a proper overview. Oh, that's funny. Look, first thing I come across is a Sesame Street parody. So yeah, I absolutely love Mad. I really particularly like caricatures, and that's what drew me in first. So yeah, this really cool collection of mad stuff is a book that makes me laugh. This is the novel I always think about when I think about novels that make me laugh. Mine's Swap by Robert Sheckley. I absolutely love this book, and I've referenced it a few times. It's one of my favourite books. It was a book that I kept saying was my all-time favourite book. I don't know if I could say that now. I often say a different book now, but I love it so much. It's definitely my top 5. Love it, love it, love it. Always makes me laugh. I think it's a ridiculous book, really funny. But I wanted to reference 2 other things, 2 other people. So I wanted to just whip around a bunch of Glenn Larson books. So Glenn Larson's obviously famous for the comic strip The Far Side. I've got everything that came out from The Far Side. So I've got all the big books and these short, long and thin ones as well. So, you know, you've got the In Search of the Far Side, Wildlife Preserves, which I've kept in its thingy, Bride of the Far Side, Valley of the Far Side, Hound of the Far Side, The Far Side Observer, Beyond the Far Side. That's the second one that came out. This was the first one, The Far Side, and it came from The Far Side. So there's some of them. There's a load of others, but those are the ones that were immediately by my feet when I wanted to quickly mention those as well. And in a similar way, I wanted to mention somebody that's not quite as famous, but I absolutely love them. That's Dan Perari's Bizarro books. Again, fantastic, imaginative, laugh out loud, funny cartoons, like one-panel cartoons, not comic strips. One-panel cartoons. There's Bizarro. This one is Postmodern Bizarro. And these are really hard to get over here. Glasnost Bizarro. Sumo Bizarro. And this is the more Bizarro. Yeah, so this is just like a second one. So yeah, that's my reaction to the second prompt, books that make you laugh, or a book that makes you laugh. Don't worry about doing tons of books. One book if you want. Okay, the next one is Animal. Animal is often the most popular Muppet character. When I ask in general, especially students, when I ask them what their favourite Muppet character is, they always say Animal. So he's clearly the one that's transcended the generations, if you like. So Animal is a character that is consistently unpredictable. So that's the one thing I think you'd connect to that character. He's unpredictable, and Floyd keeps him on a chain, and he'll sometimes rampage the place. And there's a fantastic version of Fever. I've forgotten her name. The actress that played a really important role in West Side Story, and she does a great version of Fever with Animal playing drums, and she keeps getting annoyed with him because he keeps overplaying. It's brilliant. So watch that on YouTube. But anyway, on that note, the prompt for Animal is a book that is unpredictable. So I've chosen this one by Kane Minato called Confessions. And this is a brilliant book. I really enjoyed it. And I didn't know what to expect. I went in pretty blind. I was prompted by BookTube. Someone reviewed it and said it was really good. But by the time I read it, I'd forgotten what they'd said. So I was pretty blind in what I was doing. Didn't know anything about it. It's in 6 parts, and all 6 parts from a different point of view. And it starts off with a teacher addressing her young children that she's teaching, so primary school children, saying that she's aware that someone in that class murdered her daughter. So her daughter was killed, and she knows that someone in the class did it. And it sets it up incredibly well. And then every chapter or part, you don't know how it's going to unfold, and it's really unpredictable. It's brilliant. So that's my one for Animal. The next Muppet I'm going to talk about is actually 2 Muppets. The 2 guys, the old guys that moan a lot, Statler and Waldorf. Startler and Waldorf are great characters. Again, referenced in other things a lot because they had that consistent, they're always in every episode, but they're that consistent character. And because they were moaning all the time, they were grumpy, they didn't like the sketches, they throw abuse at the people performing. I thought it'd be good to turn that into a prompt about a book that had to win you over. A book that was a bit of a slow burn or something that you didn't like at first, and then by the end of it, you liked it. So that, for me, is The Blade Itself by Joe Abercrombie. This book I found quite frustrating. I enjoyed it, but I think it only because the last third kind of won me over, or even the last fifth won me over. But it was a hard slog, I thought, from the beginning. Wasn't really connecting. I could see what he was doing. I was impressed, and then by the end of it, I was like, okay, yeah, cool. I like this. It's good. Which is why it's not always good to DNF. I'm not saying it's just you shouldn't, but that is the danger that you miss out on something that actually did win you over at the end. So my Startler and Waldorf prompt gives me The Blade Itself by Joe Abercrombie. Then one more. The next one, Ernie from Sesame Street. So a very early Muppet. I'm pretty sure, yeah, most of the characters in Sesame Street were established before the Muppet Show. So Ernie and Bert would have been Muppets before the Muppet Show. And Ernie is just such a great character. Again, voiced by Jim Henson. Bert was done by Frank Oz. And the two of them had this great chemistry, which is obvious in the Ernie and Bert sketches. And Ernie's character is just really innocent, very naive. And that's one of the lovable things about him. So basically, the prompt for the Ernie prompt is a book with a character that's kind of sweet, naive, or innocent, that kind of thing. So everything has happening around them, and they're not as much of a player, more reacting. So for this one, I thought it'd be really nice to talk about this book, Jan Martel's Life of Pi. This is a really interesting and mysterious book in some ways, Life of Pi. I think it's quite a beautiful book, and it's about a 16-year-old, I think he is, 16-year-old boy who's cast adrift on a boat with a tiger, which he calls Richard Parker. He's done it, it's written in first person, and it's really dramatic. It's very philosophical, very spiritual, and I think it's a very beautiful book. But he is completely at odds with what's happening. He is not in control of what's happening, and he's reacting all the time, and he's kind of musing on these situations all the time. It's a really good book, Life of Pi by Jan Martel. Definitely recommend it, but I think that's a nice example of that kind of character for Ernie. Okay, so my next prompt is Gonzo the Great. One of my favourite characters. He just basically does stunts and silly things in the show, and in the films they've done a little bit more of his character, and he's actually playing Charles Dickens in the Christmas Carol Muppet version, and he's just a very interesting character, done a lot with. And obviously Dave Goelz, who has always done his voice, is the last surviving member of the original Muppeteers as well, performers. So I think that's helped Gonzo to be more present as well, and Dave Goelz's performances are amazing. So yeah, Gonzo is a great one to mention here. And the thing with Gonzo is that he's a thing. There's no clear definition of what he is, as far as he's not a particular animal. He's not, defined as a particular thing. They did play around with that a bit in Muppets in Space, and it was all about the Gonzo species. But ultimately, for most of the Muppet years, it's just been a mystery. And I thought it'd be really good to do a prompt based on that, which would be a book that defies genres. So it doesn't sit in one genre. So for this, I've actually chosen a series of books. I've only got 2 here, but I thought it'd be nice to mention them. If you like this kind of thing, you might be like, oh, well, that sounds interesting. You might want to go into it. It's definitely a niche thing. But again, it's because it mixes different styles, and it's just a bit of an odd combination in some ways. It's not really odd, but a little bit odd. So the tagline here says it's the Avengers meets The Walking Dead. So it's like superheroes beating zombies. So there's elements of horror, elements of comedy, elements of sci-fi, elements of post-apocalyptic stuff, elements of superhero stuff. This is the Peter Klein's X series. So the first one's called X Heroes. She's the best character in it, I think. But yeah, the first book's called X Heroes. This is the which is that's the third book which I've read. I'm on the fourth book, Excommunication, and then this is Purgatory. There's 5 in the series. I think they're fun. I think the first one's better than the others, but they're not. There's not a huge spectrum. They're all just fun. So the X series and Peter Klein's is my choice for that. Then the next one, Dr. Bunson Honeydew. I love this character. Dr. Bunson Honeydew is the character that puts Beaker through all that hell because he's coming up with an invention. He's in a lot of the episodes, and he's obviously in a lot of the films. And he's a really, really good character. And the way he is presented on the screen is brilliant with that kind of casual, indifferent voice. And he's creating absolute chaos with his inventions. So he's clearly a mad scientist and a very, very important part of the Muppet history. So because he's a mad scientist and he comes up with these crazy ideas, like shrinking tablets and all, whatever else that he comes up with, I thought it'd be nice the prompt is a book with a great concept. So for this, I'm actually going to Hiromi Kawakami for the 10 Loves of Mr. Nishino. Why is it a great concept? I think it's a really, really nice idea. The way she does this is she explores love and relationships from Mr. Nishino's perspective in some ways, but also from the people that he has had a romantic or semi-romantic relationship with. And she picks on 10 particular moments in his life and 10 relationships. And they're very different. And it's really, really interesting because all the way through it, he says that he cannot love. He doesn't feel like he can love. And it explores what that really means and what these women have been like with him and how they feel about him. And it's a really interesting book. I think she's a very interesting author. So the 10 Loves of Mr. Nishino is what I'm going with for that. The next one, Dr. Teeth, another favourite character. I love Dr. Teeth so much. And actually, because I love him so much, this is a prompt that is a character or characters that make you smile when they're in the book. So when they come in, when there's a scene when they're in, you immediately, the book is lifted and it just like becomes fun or just a joy to read because those characters are in it. So it could be one character, it could be several. Because I'm going to actually pick 2 characters. So I'm going to mention Razorblade Tears again, S.A. Cosby, and the 2 main characters in this book, the 2 fathers, Buddy Lee and Ike. 2 incredible characters, beautifully drawn out. The dialogue is incredible. The journey they go on, the story arc that they go on is really significant and brilliantly done. So Buddy Lee and Ike, they're quite different, but similar in some other ways. But they are pretty much in every scene in the book, but they light up the book like crazy. That's what the joy of this book is, those 2 characters. So that's my choice for Dr. Teeth, Razorblade Tears, and Ike and Buddy Lee. The next one is Ralph the Dog. So Ralph the Dog is who I named my dog after, even though I pronounced it Ralph. It was better for me to say Ralph rather than Rolf, but I know the Muppets say Rolf. But I spelled it the same way as they spell their Rolf. But anyway, Ralph the Dog is possibly my favourite character, my favourite Muppet, probably. Him and Floyd, I guess. So Rolf is always laid back. That's kind of, if he's put into a plot situation, because quite often he's just playing the piano, but if he's put in a plot situation, you get this sense that he's really laid back and can deal with the craziness going on around him. And some of the sketches are a bit like that. There's mad stuff happening and he's just sort of like, just looking around but carrying on. So for that, the prompt is a character that manages to keep their head about them when everything is going around crazy. So I couldn't really think of a better example of that than Alice. So Alice from Wonderland, from Lewis Carroll's Wonderland stories, is utterly calm and says things like curiouser and curiouser. And, she doesn't go crazy when there's absolute madness happening around her. So it's a good excuse to mention this book again because I love it. And this particular version of the book I want to read pretty soon if I can. The annotated Alice. I've had this quite a while. It's really nice because it's got these extra notes to the book as you read it, which is pretty good. So, yeah, Alice absolutely keeps her head about her when everything is going crazy around her. And is that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. One more. And my last prompt is the Muppets as a collective. So I'm bouncing off the Muppets as a collective, as they are a fantastic example of a found family. So found family is a great trope in literature, I think. There's so many different great books that have that situation happening in their book. And one of my favourite examples of a found family is Becky Chambers' The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet. This might actually be the same book I used in a found family prompt before in another tag, but I do think this is such a great book, and really one of the strengths of it, well, probably it is the best strength of the book, is the characters and the way they interact. And some of them have got issues that they need the others to support them with. Some of them go through changes that the others need to support them, but they're all strangers at the beginning. So it's definitely a found family situation. So yeah, there we are. That's my choice for the collective of the Muppets. I really hope you enjoyed looking at the Muppets and looking at the books. Please get involved if you want to do your own version. I'd love to see them. And as I said, I will tag some people. But if you haven't been tagged, it doesn't mean I've forgotten about you. It just means that you didn't come into my head at that point when I was writing the description. And I'd love for you to do it. And thank you for watching, everybody. Maybe this gives you a prompt to go and watch a Muppet film or a Muppet episode or something. Who knows? Thank you for watching. Stay curious, everybody.